My mother left me in the snow at 15. Now she's showing up with gifts, lawyers, and a birth plan I never wrote. I'm 8 months pregnant. And somehow the woman who once called me dead weight is trying to rebrand as a grandmother. They think this is a story about forgiveness. But it might end in court. I was 16 when I stopped believing in miracles. Not because I didn't need one, but because I realized the people who said they loved me were the ones I needed saving from. I'm Kira. I'm 27 now. Pregnant. 8 months, swollen feet. Hips like grinding metal, and a baby who kicks when I try to sleep. But back then, when I was 15 and my mom's boyfriend told her I was blocking their energy, she looked at me like I was furniture she didn't remember buying, and said, then she needs to go. No bags. No shoes. Just me in a hoodie, standing in snow up to my ankles while the porch light flickered like it was tired of watching. You ever freeze so deep your thoughts stop working? That night, I walked in circles around the same 3 blocks for hours, until my lips split and my ears stopped hurting, and I realized that meant frostbite. The train station benches were hard plastic and metal. I curled under an ad for a new movie. I remember the tagline, "This winter one girl survives everything." I laughed. Out loud. Because someone somewhere thought surviving was entertainment. But I did survive. I slept in churches on floors, once even in the back of a park delivery van. I found a girl named Nevea who let me stay in her apartment, on a towel-covered floor near her keyboard and some cracked vinyls. She said I could stay, as long as the landlord doesn't check. She never asked where my mom was. No one ever did. It's been 12 years. I live in a different world now. Warm kitchen. Husband who brings me fruit in bed. Friends who say things like glow and mama to be. And I almost believed I escaped. My mother-in-law threw me a baby shower. Pink roses, tiny cupcakes, photos of me holding my belly with filtered smiles. Everyone posted reels. You would have thought I was royalty. The soft lighting, the tears, the way people clapped when we unwrapped the blanket with her name stitched in gold. But it was after the guests left, after the dishes were stacked and the candles blown out, that the doorbell rang. And there she was. My mother. Pink coat. Bouquet of lilies. The same eyes that once watched me disappear into the dark. She didn't ask to come in. She just looked at my stomach like it was a mirror, and said the line I'll never forget. Kira. You have no idea how long I've been searching for you. I have cancer. I didn't speak. Not at first. I remember gripping the edge of the counter just to stay upright. The baby kicked. Hard. She tried to hug me. I stepped back. She said she just wanted to see her grandchild. Just once. She whispered like she was begging God through me. And I hate that part of me, the part that flinched and softened, the part that still wanted a mother even now. You probably think I slammed the door. I didn't. I let her talk. I listened. I wish I hadn't. Because that night, someone slid a letter under our door. No stamp. No name. Just my name in shaky handwriting. Inside, one line. I won't die without meeting her. I haven't slept since. Would you have opened the door? Be honest. Because I did. And now I can't undo it. The bouquet she brought? I threw it out the next morning. But when I opened the trash can later, it was gone. 2 days later, she showed up at the park where I walk. Same pink coat. Only this time she brought a stroller. Empty. I used to think that grief had a flavor. Like metal. Or black coffee gone cold. But what I felt in the days after she showed up, it wasn't grief. It was static. Buzzing in the corners of my life. I started noticing things. Small. Too small maybe, but once you start looking you can't unsee. First, the voicemail. My OBGYN's office called to confirm my insurance update. But I hadn't changed anything. I asked for details. The receptionist hesitated. Kira Ramirez? Date of birth, December 11th? You added your mother as a secondary contact. I felt my throat tighten like it was clenching itself shut. I didn't. Pause. Then. Well, someone did. 2 days ago. In person. You ever get chills when everything should be fine? That night I went through my paperwork. Our drawers. My email inbox. Nothing obvious was missing, but I had this crawling feeling that something was off. Like air pressure dropping before a storm. I tried to explain it to my husband, Josh. He's gentle. Kind. The type to hold my ankles during Braxton Hicks and Google prenatal acupressure. But when I said, I think she's trying to get close through my doctor, he blinked too long before answering. Babe, maybe she's just scared. If she really is sick. I cut him off. You weren't there the night she left me to die. And I hated how his silence sounded like doubt. The next thing, the blanket. At the baby shower we got dozens of gifts, from Etsy shops and Target registries and well-meaning coworkers. But one stood out. A hand-stitched white muslin swaddle with tiny gold stars and one name embroidered in cursive. Elowen. Josh and I hadn't told anyone the name. Not even his mom. Not online. Not in group chats. It wasn't on any paperwork yet. I felt it like a punch to the sternum. I asked my mother-in-law who brought it. She didn't remember. Said it came in with a stack from a quiet woman in a hat. You see where this is going, right? I told myself it could be a coincidence. Until the park. Every evening I do a slow walk around the lake. I like the geese. The sound of water lapping at the edge. Pregnancy makes everything swollen, even my thoughts. So I walk. And there she was. Again. My mother. On a bench. Pink coat. Plastic thermos in hand. Next to her? A stroller. Cheap. Worn wheels. Empty. She waved like we were long-lost neighbors. Like this wasn't insane. I kept walking. She didn't follow. But that night, a manila envelope showed up in our mailbox. No return address. Inside. Photos. Dozens of them. Old ones, me as a baby. Me in her arms in a sun hat. Me playing with a puppy I barely remember. Me before her boyfriend moved in and ruined everything. And at the bottom of the stack? A photo I had never seen before. Recent. Blurry. Me. At the lake. Holding my stomach. Looking down. It wasn't taken by Josh. Or anyone I know. I wanted to scream. I wanted to set the entire envelope on fire. But I didn't. I laid the photos out on the kitchen table and stared. The last one had something written on the back. Just 5 words. In that same shaky handwriting. I only lied once. K. I don't know what she meant. But it's been echoing in my head like a riddle I never wanted. Josh keeps telling me to breathe. To let the hospital know. To file something, a report maybe. But I feel like that gives her power. I want her gone before Elowen is born. Before that twisted sense of motherhood she's performing finds a way into the cracks of mine. You probably think I'm being paranoid. That I should forgive and move on. But what if you knew, with bone-deep certainty, that the person calling themselves your mother might be capable of anything? I checked the blanket one last time before hiding it. There was something stitched into the hem. Tiny. Almost invisible. Forgive me. In the same thread as the stars. 3 days later the hospital called. Someone had requested access to my birth plan. And when I asked who, the nurse hesitated. She said she was your emergency contact. She wasn't. Not anymore. You know how people say it's not a big deal right before everything breaks? Josh said that when the hospital called the second time. She probably just wants to know you're okay. He offered, voice low, trying to help. But I wasn't okay. Not even close. Because I finally checked the hospital portal myself. And there it was, buried under authorized contacts. Karen Ramirez. Relationship, mother. Added 4 days ago. Status approved. I clicked remove so hard I thought I'd crack my trackpad. But the damage wasn't virtual. I called the hospital. Spoke to the front desk. Then security. Then the birthing floor coordinator. And what they said chilled me worse than that night in the snow. She came in. She had a copy of your ID. Your insurance. She knew your provider's name. She even had your signature. Excuse me. She presented a printed copy of a birth plan. With your name on it. I hadn't even printed mine yet. And that's when it hit me. She had access to something. Something inside. I tore apart the house. Looked through our shred bin. My laptop. My inbox. Nothing obvious was missing. Until I checked the guest account on our desktop. The one we let friends use when they visit. Last login. 3 weeks ago. Files downloaded 17. Folder titled Motherhood Documents. I never created that folder. But she had been here. In my home. When? How? Then I remembered. 3 weeks ago, my mother-in-law had hosted a nesting brunch for me. Dozens of people, neighbors, cousins, even old co-workers of Josh's, in and out for hours. One of them must have let her in. Or she slipped in on her own. I felt like my breath had turned to fire. You ever realize your boundaries were just polite suggestions to someone else? That night I lost it. I screamed. Not at Josh. Not even at her. Just screamed. In the laundry room. With my hands shaking over the dryer. Josh found me curled next to the detergent bottles. He tried to hold me. I said it then. Finally. I don't want her in my life. I don't want her near my child. I don't care if she's sick or sorry or wants redemption. She left me to die. Josh looked shaken. I'll change the locks, he said quietly. It should have helped. But it didn't. Because the next day I got a message. Not a call. Not a letter. A DM. From a new Instagram account. @healing_motherjourney. No posts. No followers. Just a bio. Chasing forgiveness. Rebuilding love. And the first message? I booked a spot at your birthing center's candlelight vigil. I'll be quiet. I just want to send Elowen into this world with light. Candlelight vigil. It's something the center offers, a gentle pre-labor gathering for expecting mothers. Private. Secure. Intimate. She wasn't supposed to know about it. I called the center in a panic. They hadn't booked her. But she'd tried. Then they told me something else. She'd send in a poem. To be read aloud by the doula. A poem, written from a grandmother to an unborn child. I asked them to read it to me. First line? I lost your mother once. I won't lose you. I knew then. This wasn't nostalgia. It wasn't guilt. It was possession. She didn't want to meet my daughter. She wanted to claim her. That's when I called my old social worker. Yeah. I still had the number. After I aged out of foster care, we stayed in touch. She's the one who helped me find my first real apartment, my GED program, a coat that winter. I told her everything. The hospital breach. The photos. The vigil. The poem. She went silent. Then she said something that chilled my spine. Kira, she's not just trying to see you. She's staging a narrative. You need to prepare for a custody threat. What? If she claims you're unfit, mentally or emotionally, or files for grandparent visitation, depending on your state's laws, it could gain traction. I almost dropped the phone. A custody threat? Over a baby not even born? That night I slept sitting up. One hand on my belly. One hand clutching the baby monitor we hadn't even unboxed yet. Because that was the moment it all broke. Not just the fantasy of safety. Not just the myth of healing. But the idea that this was over. It was only beginning. Tell me, how do you protect someone who hasn't even taken their first breath yet? Because that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm already failing. I checked the @healing_motherjourney account again. It was gone. Deleted. But I noticed something new. One of my private maternity photos was now reposted by a parenting blog I've never heard of. Caption, 3 generations. 1 rebirth. That morning I got a letter taped to our door. Legal-sized envelope. Stamped from a family law firm. First line read, this letter serves as formal notice of intent to request grandparental access. You'd think a legal threat would be loud. But no. It arrived in silence. Like grief. Like rot. Just a folded paper taped to our door with quiet, surgical precision. Josh read it first. His lips didn't move. Then he handed it to me like it was radioactive. The letter didn't scream. It didn't accuse. It implied. Given the emotional distress between the parties and our client's medical status, we respectfully request consideration of scheduled access. Scheduled access. To my daughter. From the woman who once slammed a door in my face and left me to sleep in a bus terminal. And here's the part that made me shake. They included a photo. A photo of me. From my baby shower. Holding my bump. Laughing. Public versus private. Instagram smiles used as legal leverage. That cut deeper than the paper. I paced the kitchen like I was caged. Josh told me we'd fight it. Said we'd get a lawyer, shut it down. And I believed him. Mostly. But when I looked in the mirror that night, all I could see was how tired I looked. Not 3rd trimester tired. Bone deep. Unreachable. So I did what I always do when things get too heavy. I cleaned. I bleached the sink. Scrubbed the grout. Vacuumed under the crib even though no one would ever see it. You ever try to wipe fear out of a house? I did. It didn't work. Then I found the box. Small. Cardboard. No label. It was wedged behind the diaper bin, probably slipped there during the shower chaos. Inside, a rattle. Handmade. And a note. Elowen. I wasn't there when your mother took her first steps. But I'll be there when you take yours. Love, Grandma. My chest cracked open. I couldn't breathe. I sat down on the nursery floor and cried like I hadn't in 12 years. Not little sobs. Heaving. Because this wasn't just violation. It was rehearsed. She was staging it. A story. A version of herself. Not the woman who called me deadweight. The healer. The survivor. The grandmother reuniting against the odds. If you're thinking Lifetime movie, so was I. Only I wasn't acting. I was living it. Josh tried to help. He called his friend, a lawyer. We had a consult. Low chance of success, they said. Unless she has a pattern of established contact. I almost laughed. She faked a pattern, I said. The gifts. The hospital lies. The Instagram reposts. It wasn't contact. It was costume. And yet the court might see it differently. Because the world loves a comeback story. Even if it's built on someone else's trauma. In public I smiled. Everyone said I looked ready. Moms at prenatal yoga clapped when I shared the due date. They don't know I sleep with my phone recording. They don't know I bought a second baby monitor, hidden, just in case. They don't know my birth plan now includes a security guard's number. You ever pretend to glow while secretly preparing for war? Yeah. That's where I live now. You probably think I'm being dramatic. Maybe I am. But tell me, how do you fight someone who's rewritten the past and weaponized your survival? I burned the note. The one from the box. But the smoke smelled like baby powder and lilies. And for a second, I felt her breath on my neck. That night, I got an email from an address I didn't recognize. Subject, I forgive you. No body text. Just an attachment. A video file. Title, ElowenBirthdayMessage.mov. There's a specific kind of silence that comes right before you open a file you know you shouldn't. Not fear. Not curiosity. Just a cold inevitability. Like cracking a door that always had something awful on the other side. I stared at that file for 2 hours. ElowenBirthdayMessage.mov. She hadn't even been born yet. I should have deleted it. I didn't. Instead, I opened it while Josh was out getting groceries. And pressed play. It was low quality, probably filmed on some knockoff phone. My mother sat in front of a pale green wall. Hair brushed. Light makeup. Holding a white crocheted blanket in her lap. She smiled. The kind of smile you give to strangers. Soft. Careful. Sanitized. Hi, baby Elowen. I know I'm not supposed to be doing this. But one day, I think you'll want to know who I really am. I felt my stomach twist. She was speaking directly to my daughter. About me. Like I was the barrier. The villain. Your mommy and I, we lost each other once. But that doesn't mean we didn't love. Sometimes pain makes people push away the ones who matter most. She was crying now. On command, maybe? Theatrical. Clean tears. Exactly the kind that courts eat up and strangers repost with hashtags. If you ever want to know me, if you ever feel like something's missing, I'll be waiting. I already forgave her. I slammed the laptop shut. And something broke. Not just in me. In the room. The air shifted. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I picked up my phone and dialed the number I hadn't used in 12 years. She answered on the second ring. Softly. Like she knew. Like she'd been waiting. Hello, Kira. Meet me, I said. Tomorrow. In public. No cameras. No stunts. You want a conversation? Fine. Let's talk like adults. She agreed too fast. I knew she would. We met in the conservatory cafe. Not because I wanted flowers, because there were cameras. Tourists. Families. Witnesses. No way she'd pull a scene. She wore that damn pink coat. Like a costume now. Hi, baby, she said. I flinched. Don't call me that. She looked wounded. But I saw it. The performance. You said you had cancer. I do. What's your oncologist's name? Silence. You said you forgave me. For what? Being abandoned? Frozen? Lied to. Her eyes welled. I was broken. I didn't know how to raise a girl. I let him control everything. I thought if I let you go, maybe you'd survive. I leaned forward. You didn't let me go. You discarded me. She tried to reach across the table. I didn't move. You think if you say sorry with flowers and fake Instagrams and courtroom letters that I'll just hand you my child? No, she whispered. I just want to see her face. Once. A pause. Long quiet. Too heavy for words. You don't even know what her face looks like, I said. I do. Her voice dropped. I saw the ultrasound. Your friend Michelle posted it. I froze. Michelle. A girl from prenatal yoga. Sweet. Naive. Tagged me in a story once. She must have screenshotted it. That's when I knew. It wouldn't stop. Not until I cut the line for good. I stood. You will not see her. Not once. Not ever. Kira, please. I'm not your daughter. Not anymore. I'm her mother now. I walked out. Left her crying behind her coffee. And I didn't look back. You ever wonder how many second chances someone can steal before they start to feel like theft? When I got home, I opened the blanket closet. The crocheted one she held in the video? It was there. Folded. Clean. Tucked behind the diapers. I never put it there. That night, Josh checked the baby monitor. Motion alert. 3:41 a.m. Front porch. A figure standing there. Pink coat. Empty arms. The security footage was grainy, but it was her. Standing on our front porch at 3:41 a.m. Hands clutched together. No bag. No note. Just watching. She didn't knock. She didn't move. She stood there for 11 minutes. Then turned and left. I watched it 6 times before I could breathe again. Josh wanted to call the police. But what could we say? My estranged mother stood outside our house too quietly. We changed the locks again. Bought floodlights. Set up motion sensors that would send alerts straight to my phone. I even made a new hospital plan, new check-in name, new password, new list of approved visitors. Everything locked. Everything protected. At least, that's what I told myself. But the real fallout? It wasn't legal. It was social. Michelle messaged me 3 days later. Hey babe, are we okay? Someone told me you're mad at me and I have no idea why. I didn't reply. I couldn't. I just stared at her story from last week, the one that tagged me at the ultrasound. I forgot it was public. My profile wasn't, but hers was. And my mother, she'd been following her. The betrayal wasn't just in the followers. It was in the comments. People saying things like, so sweet how her mom's trying to be there now. Everyone deserves a second chance. That poor woman. You can't deny a dying mother her grandchild. Dying? She hadn't shown a single medical record. But somehow she became the tragic one. And me? I was the ice queen. The heartless daughter who couldn't find forgiveness. You ever feel erased while you're still alive? That's what it was like. Even Josh's sister, someone I once trusted, called me intense after I told her what happened. She's just trying to reconnect, she said. You could try letting her come to the hospital. Just for 5 minutes. I hung up. That night, I pulled down all the framed sonogram photos. The crib remained untouched. I sat in the glider chair with my back to the window. And I made the decision. No one else was coming to the hospital. No baby shower guests. No family. Just me, Josh, and Elowen. This wasn't about peace anymore. It was about safety. A week later, the law office called again. They asked if I'd be open to informal mediation. You want to know what that means? It means they thought I'd be more cooperative if it wasn't official. If she showed up with soft eyes and no courtroom behind her. If she could speak directly, not just to me, but maybe to a judge if she taped it. I said no. Firm. Clear. Final. They said that could affect her legal argument. I told them she already affected my life. And here's the thing no one tells you. When you cut someone toxic out of your life, the world doesn't always clap for you. Sometimes it shames you. Sometimes it romanticizes the abuser. Turns them into a symbol. My mom was never a title she earned. But now suddenly everyone thought she deserved it. I received a postcard in the mail. No return address. No message. Just a stock photo of a newborn's hand gripping a finger. And in tiny letters scribbled in silver ink. She'll reach for me too. 3 nights later, my water broke. Early. No warning. And as we rushed to the hospital, Josh's phone buzzed. A voicemail. From an unknown number. Her voice. We got to the hospital in 17 minutes. I was shaking the entire ride. Not from pain, not yet, but from something colder. Terror with a heartbeat. I kept looking behind us in traffic. Like she'd be there. Following in that pink coat. When the nurse asked if I had any allergies, I said. Only to unwanted visitors. She smiled politely. Didn't ask. But she knew. I handed her the folder I prepared. New birth plan. Do not visit list. Court documentation. Photo of her. The emergency alert, note in bold red font. If this person attempts contact, notify security immediately. I was ready for labor. I was ready for the pain. But I wasn't ready for the knock. It was 2:12 a.m. Contractions were 5 minutes apart. I was mid-breath, gripping Josh's hand, trying not to scream when the door creaked. A nurse peeked in. Pale. There's someone in the waiting room. She says she's your mother. She's refusing to leave. My head spun. I almost vomited. She's not on the list, I whispered. I know. Security's escorting her out now. But she left something behind. I didn't want to see it. But the nurse held it out anyway. A small pink envelope. No name. No return info. Just one word written in shaking cursive. Enough. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. I knew what it would say. Some final guilt plea. A last-ditch rewrite of history. But this wasn't her ending. It was mine. Elowen came into the world screaming. Red and strong and impossible. They laid her on my chest, and for the first time in my entire life, I felt full. Not just loved. Whole. And in that moment I knew. I didn't need closure. I didn't need a mother. I was one. I pressed my lips to her tiny forehead and whispered. You don't belong to the past. You belong to you. The hospital stayed on lockdown the rest of our stay. Josh slept on the couch like a watchdog. I didn't ask for updates. I didn't need to know if she came back. Because I'd already made the final decision. When we got home, I did one last thing. I opened that envelope. Inside was a photo. Me age 5. Holding a wilted daisy. She was kneeling beside me smiling. Behind us, a park bench tagged, Ramirez Girls Unbreakable. Below that, scribbled in ink. Maybe you don't believe me. Maybe you never will. But I tried. I really did. Mom. I stared at it. Not in grief. Not in rage. In stillness. Then I lit a match. I watched the photo curl, blacken, vanish. Elowen was asleep in the next room. Her world didn't have to be built on the ashes of mine. It could start clean. I deleted every file, every message, every trace, then changed my last name legally. Elowen would carry it, not the name of the woman who left me in the snow. She said, I just want to see her once. But love doesn't start with once. It starts with always.